Good morning and welcome to Business Breakfast and Bedhead. Today we're going to talk about why your clients late cancel on you and what you can do about it to stop it. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic because it is a hot topic in our industry. I see a lot of people getting frustrated with a lot of clients late canceling on them, and I want you to know that your feelings are legit, but there might be a couple things that you're doing that are actually causing this. So I'm so excited that you're here right now. If you're live with me on Instagram, good morning and welcome. If you're listening to this over on the Anxious Creative Podcast, I'm so stoked that you're listening. Make sure you try to come over to Instagram weekday morning lives around 8:30. Today's a little bit later to join us live for Business Breakfast Embedded. So before we get into it, I want to make sure that you guys know that this is a safe space where we can show up real, raw, honest, and vulnerable together, knowing that this is a space where we can be accepted, loved, and it's safe. So before we dive into everything, I just want everyone to put a hello, your name, where you're tuning in from in the comments so that we can get to know each other. Because here's the thing. I don't want to be someone talking at you this morning. I want to be talking with you. I want to have a conversation with you. So go ahead, put your name, where you're tuning in from. If you're brand new to Business Breakfast in Bedhead, put new so that I can welcome you in and you can get to know everybody else here. Also, in order to keep this a judgment-free zone, I ask each and every one of you just to put a yes in the comments to show everyone else that's here that you're a safe person to be around. Because especially when we're learning things like boundaries, communication, learning how to set up our businesses in a good way so that we can have control of them, so that we don't no longer feel frustrated and victim to getting taken advantage of or walked all over, it means that it can be a very vulnerable space. So we got Bayfield Blonda saying yes. Jojo Nails 88 saying yes. Good morning, Kenzie. Good morning, Angie from Montana alumni and Judgment Free. Yes, from Heads Together Salon. Yes. Lauren 88. Yes. The Queen Royal Beauty Bar. Yes. I love it. Sarah Glow Aesthetics. Yes. Studio Oakto. Yes. Hello from San Antonio, from the Bay Area, safe space. I love it. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Kent Style by Kenzie. Yes. So awesome. Okay. So how many of you guys have had someone late cancel or had more, especially in the last 3 years, had more people late cancel on you than before and with legit reasons? Here's the thing. Late cancels are going to happen. And I want you guys I know it can feel frustrating in the moment because it's your livelihood, right? But a lot of the times we allow ourselves to be victimized by it. And so I want to just hear from you. I want to share with you guys a story about a late cancel really quickly that I had. So this was back in probably 2011. I was about a year into having my own business, and I had one of my clients late cancel, and it was a good friend of mine, somebody that I knew pretty well. And she just no-showed. And I remember being so freaking frustrating, just like no-showed for her hair appointment. And I was like, what? And I was almost like cursing her name. I was like, I can't believe she would no-show. I can't believe that she wouldn't, like, who does this? Like, doesn't she know? And I know, all those, like, I'm curious right now if you guys, once again, because it's a safe space, what are the thoughts that go through your head when you're frustrated when someone no-shows? And it's okay. I know that they're not legit feelings that you're going to act out on, but initially, what are those emotions that you don't even like to admit to yourself? Because here's the thing, is a lot of times we don't even allow ourselves to validate our feelings. And it's really important, despite having so much grace and understanding, it's good to get those feelings out in a safe space and not at your client. Because here's the thing, your feelings are valid and there could be other things going on in the room for you as well. Maybe there's stress going on in another area. And if you don't validate your feelings and let them out, they're going to explode out at some point. And so I had 15 clients this month. So crazy. Oh, Sarah Glow. I'm going to take a screenshot of that because let's chat more. They don't care about me, says, yeah, that's good. That's a thought that happens. Lauren Does Hair says, we have 100% cancellation charge and my staff is having a hard time enforcing the policy. Oh, Lauren, let's chat more about that. I hate thinking of others as inconsiderate and myself as victimized. Tara Wood. Yes. Okay. So we have a hard time even validating our feelings. We almost shame ourselves out of feeling the feelings that we have. So let's go back to that story I was telling you. I would never have admitted out loud how much I was cursing my client. She no-showed and I was like, I can't believe, in my head, I was like, oh, I can't believe she'd do this. Who does she think she is? Does she not respect my business? But I would have never said that to someone else. And if she would have phoned me later, I'd been like, oh my gosh, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. And I would have thought that I was being a really kind person. But what I was being was a total passive aggressive bitch. And I say that, and it's hard for me to say that. It's hard for me to own that because I don't like putting that on myself because that's not what I would want to be. But because I wouldn't validate my emotions, I shamed myself being like, Dawn, you shouldn't be feeling this way. Don't be a victim. Come on. That I didn't actually let myself experience or express the emotions in a safe space, not at my client. But then what would happen I would start to like, a client would come in and then it wouldn't even be that client that I was frustrated with, but they would hit me at my tipping point when like, the straw that broke the camel's back, and I would just explode, and not even explode in like a fit of rage, but just like get kind of snarky and snippy. And we want to really, really be careful around that. How many of you guys can relate to this? And so O says, the queen royal beauty of our fire them. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. So my client no-showed. I was pissed on the inside, but I knew that when push come to shove, once I sent her like a very passive aggressive email so that if she called me out being like, are you upset? I'd be like, I wasn't being upset. I don't know what you're talking about. That's when you know you're being a passive aggressive, that if they were to call you out, you could totally be like, I don't know what you're talking about, when really you were trying to get a point across. So I sent an email being like, hey, just so you know, you missed your appointment today. You had one. I want to, and I think I said like, when you don't show up, I don't get paid. And so just wanted to remind you. And it was very snarky with the intention of snarkiness, but like covered in fluff. And then I go onto Facebook and I open up. Are you guys tracking with this message? So she no shows, no word. I'm like pissed. I'm like, this is my time. This is my money. I was a year into being self-employed. I couldn't believe it. I go open up my computer because I'm like, what else am I going to do right now? And I open up Facebook and I see this post and it says, please pray for my sister. She's been in a horrible car accident. We're not sure if she's going to make it. That was my client that no showed. I felt horrible. Even though I hadn't said anything directly to them or I hadn't put anything out there, I had sent kind of, I could have easily been like, oh no, that's not how I meant it. But I definitely, the intent behind the email that I sent was to get a point across. Hey, just so you know, you had an appointment, you didn't show up, and like da 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 da. And then I found out she's like might not make it. She's in the hospital. She's been in a horrible car accident. And that's the moment that I had to realize that, you know what, not everything's happening to me or against me. Not all my clients are out to get me. And it can feel that way, especially when we start to have a lot of no-shows or a lot of late cancels. And from that moment on, I committed to not assuming the worst. We oftentimes assume the worst, and we also have a negative bias. It's part of being human. It's part about survival mechanisms. We often read things with a negative bias. And so even the well-intentioned thing, I have a reel that went off that I say, I had to cancel some appointments due to a fatally ill family member. This is the email that I got. How would you reply? And the amount of people that reply that are saying like, I don't say anything negative about my client on purpose. It was kind of a social experiment. And everyone's assuming that I hate my client. I talk about my emotions, but I don't say anything about the client. And a lot of the assumptions from the people similar to me and you are like, I can't believe they'd ask that. And we assume negativity to things. And so I had a very humbling moment that day when I found out that my client didn't no-show to be against me or out of inconsiderate reasons. She had been in a serious car accident and they weren't sure if she was going to live. And that day forward, I committed to, when someone no-shows or when someone doesn't give me adequate notice and I don't hear from them, I'm going to commit to get curious first rather than aggressive and blaming. And so now the habit that I have picked up on is like, hey, you had an appointment today and I haven't heard from you and you didn't show up. I want to make sure you're okay. And I want you to know that here's the thing is that by doing that, when people forget even, or when it is like a slip of the mind and it isn't something that I don't know how many people are like, I'm not going to show up because I want to ruin your business and your life. I think that's, maybe it happens, but I think it's very few. But when you approach things less on the defense, so, that initial email, like, hey, you had an appointment. I just want to let you know that when you don't show up, I don't get paid. And now I'm out an appointment. Let me know, I'm going to have to charge you. I see this happen a lot of times with us, that we don't know how to communicate. We want to be caring and compassionate, but then we get to a point where we're so freaking frustrated, it just comes out very harsh rather than trying to get curious and understanding. And the reason why I know that you're in this work because you care about the people you get to see and work with. And so the most compassionate thing, and sometimes you just don't know, holy shit, Dawn, this is a good one. And sometimes you just don't know how to say it. How do I say this compassionately? Because I feel like I'm getting taken advantage of and I don't want to get taken advantage of anymore. So I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to stand my ground. And then we end up standing our ground in the wrong way, at the wrong place, at the wrong time. And so what I've learned to do is, hey, you had an appointment today. I noticed that, you aren't here. I want to make sure everything's okay. And I will tell you that the response that you get back people be like, my clients be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about it. What can I do? And all of a sudden they recognize and they are much more empathetic with me. But if I come at it aggressively, it's going to invite a combative response. Now, here's like the other nuance is we can't control how people perceive or receive things. I remember being very kind and compassionate with someone, and this wasn't a client. This is something in business that happened a couple of years ago. Very kind and compassionate with someone I was working with that made a very big mistake that cost my business a lot of money. And I don't know how they received it, but I was being really kind and understanding and saying, like, what do you think would be fair in this situation? How would you like to navigate it? Giving her the chance to tell me, because it was her mistake, tell me. And she just backed off and she got really aggressive. And I think maybe I don't know, but I think maybe she was seeing my compassion as trying to be passive aggressive when I really wasn't. I didn't want to dictate what I felt like she should do for her mistake. I wanted to hear from her what she thought she should do for her mistake. So it's really hard. It's tough because even if you come with the most compassion, sometimes people won't read it that way because there's other stuff in the room happening for them. But I want you to realize that the world isn't out to get you. And if you can remove that narrative, if you've ever had that narrative, like, oh, these things always happen to me, or no one ever seems to respect me. My coach, Garen, said the other day, the world isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. And I want you to really think about that phrase this morning. The world isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. How are you navigating through your life and business? Is business always hard? Do you have to do everything yourself? Are clients disrespecting you and walking all over you? Do you say these things or think these things over and over? Because then that's what you'll tend to get. What if, and just try this, because a lot of my students do my like Post-it note method for sales. They just put their goal income up for the day, what they need to hit every day to hit their goals. And they start hitting them without even doing anything else other than subconsciously reminding themselves what they're going for. What if you wrote down, hey, American Salon, what if you wrote down, I'm a big deal and I can do hard things. My clients respect me. My clients understand. I am compassionate and understanding. My clients respect my business. And just started saying those over and over, you might navigate through your business a little bit differently. The world isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. And so ask yourself, what am I telling it that I am, that I do, that I have? Nebo says, I've had clients cancel because last minute got a doctor's appointment that would take them months to get in, elderly. How would you handle that situation? Yeah, that's a tough one. And here's the thing is I want you guys to know, like a lot of my content, I have the one reel that says my long-term client no-showed, so I fired her. And a lot of people are like, what's the context? Da, 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 da. It's a reel to make a point. Right? I want you guys to know a lot of my stuff I put out there is for an education perspective. And so, yes, there are exceptions. And yes, I think there's so much grace and understanding. And so, Renee, Nebo, what I would say is what you could ask your clients is, because I think getting months into a doctor, especially an elderly person in their health, you could say, hey, I'm so glad that you were able to get in. I just want to create an awareness around when you cancel last minute, I'm actually out my, I actually don't make any money and I lose money because it costs my business to be open. So I just want to have a conversation with you. What do you think we should do in this scenario? Because I don't want you to miss this doctor's appointment that you've got in for. But the reality is that I'm losing out on income. And I just want to make you aware so that we can find a solution together and see how they respond. And then that way you're not saying, hey, I have to charge you. Hey, and it doesn't come across aggressive, but you're enlightening them and educating them on, hey, I'm so glad that you're able to get in for that appointment. I know it's really important and I totally understand. I just want to create an awareness and educate you on when someone late cancels, I'm unable to get someone else in. And it not only affects my income, but it actually costs me money because my business has costs. And that's the one thing we don't realize is, and that's the one thing in Rock Your Business with the calculators that you guys get with Rock Your Business is it tells you how much it costs you per hour you work a week just to have your business open with your expenses. And so when someone no-shows you, it's not that you're not making money. It's actually that you're losing money because you have a break-even point every hour that you work. So you're so good with words. That's kind of like this strange, weird talent that I have. I love to help that. So a lot of times it's like we get frustrated and then we're like, well, I'm going to have to charge you. Or we think we need to get aggressive because at this point that we get to, we're like, I'm so sick of getting taken advantage of. How come nobody respects me? So I need to stand up and respect myself. But the best thing you can do to build respect is to gain trust and authority and loyalty. And so getting that compassionate, hey, thank you so much for giving me the notice that you have. When someone has to late cancel and they do give you notice, thank them. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for even reaching out. I really appreciate that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate letting you know. I want to remind you, and hopefully all of you guys have had them go through your policies. And if you don't, so my Rock Your Consultation program is actually getting an upgrade, and it's going to be called the Policy Pathway, your step-by-step guide to peaceful, calm client interactions. How cool is that? Because it's become more about policies with a side of consultations of how to communicate your policies. But as long as you guys have had the conversation about policies and your clients have had a conversation, a face-to-face eye contact moment where they've agreed to your policy. It's not just in tiny little text on your website. It's not just in your confirmation email, but they have actually heard it and agreed to it with you. Then when they late cancel, say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for giving me this notice. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you even letting me know. A lot of times people just no show. I do want to bring awareness to the fact that this has come in under my cancellation time frame. And so knowing my cancellation policy and that we've gone through it, I just want to create that awareness that I'm going to try to get someone booked in. And so that's what I always share with people when they late cancel. Hey, I know you've given me 20 hours notice and have 24 hours. I'm going to try and see if I can get someone booked in so that you don't have to pay a fee. But I do want to remind you that this is what my cancellation policy is. And it's really important. Here's the thing. So many people, we have a cancellation policy hoping that that'll scare people away from late canceling. But unless your late cancellation states you cannot late cancel, which I don't think anyone has that, you have to be prepared to follow through and enforce your policy. That it doesn't have to be this hard hammer coming down. Once again, thank you for giving me the notice you did. I really appreciate it. Lots of people don't. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to fill up this appointment and see if I can get someone in. But if I'm unable to get someone in, I do want to remind you of the penalty that happens when you cancel under my time frame. Now, this is where I get a lot of questions about like, well, if I have a 24-hour cancellation policy and they give me 23 and a half and they try to fight it, being like, hey, I understand. I have to have a cutoff somewhere. And yeah, this sucks. But I'm going to try my best. The 24 hours is there so that I can try my best to get it filled up. And so giving me 23 and a half hours, I have to have a cutoff, unfortunately. Thank you for understanding. But 23 hours, I'm pretty hopeful that I'll be able to get someone to book in. And then that way, if someone books in for the appointment, you can say, hey, guess what? I was able to get somebody in. I'm really glad. And if it's only, maybe they had a 4-hour appointment and you got 2 hours of it filled. Hey, just want to let you know I got 2 hours of it filled. So, the fee that you're going to have to pay is less. It doesn't have to be so aggressive. And I want you guys to start showing them that you're working with them. You want to thank them for giving the notice that you have. Build that trust, respect, loyalty, and authority. It'll be huge. Instead of being like someone late canceled, now, it's like, okay, get out there, send out an email. Kelly, my student, we've been talking about how to re-engage clients, how to get more bookings. Send out an email if you can. Send out a text or however you communicate and saying, guess what? I have an opening and I want to be able to fill it. Who wants to take it? It'll take you 5-10 minutes to send that email. And you might just get that appointment filled up. And then that client's going to be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And say, hey, I just want to remind you that, if I wasn't able to fill it, I would have had to charge you. But good news, we were able to fill it. Trust, respect, loyalty, and authority. Absolutely, Lauren. And so if you guys want to dive deeper into knowing how to write your policies, how to follow, not because lots of people have policies, but they don't follow through and enforce them because they don't know how. The verbiage is really scary. It feels really awkward. Utilize social. Yes, absolutely. Utilize social media stories too. Yes. So I love that American Salon that you said that because I always talk about my 5 touch points of communication. Whenever you're trying to communicate something with your clientele or with your clients, the 5 touch points is so important. And so I say social media, absolutely. But remember, not everybody sees your social media. So you still want to use it. Post on social media. And they say, I don't even know, American Salon, maybe you know the stat. It's like less than 7% of your following see any single post or story. So still put it there and then send out an email or a text. Have a sign up in your space. So obviously a last minute cancellation might be harder because it's like more timely, but say you're communicating a price increase or a schedule change. You want to have a sign, you want to have a face-to-face conversation. Number 4 is the one that people skip out and miss the most. They're so uncomfortable with face-to-face conversations. That's why I go live. That's why I love getting your questions. That's why I love sharing verbiage that can help you show up more confident and compassionate while still being assertive. And then you want to remind them, remind. And so a lot of times what happens, like I've waived my cancellation fee, but I haven't told my client I waived it. Oh, thanks for letting me know. and then I don't charge them. And then they keep late canceling over and over because there's no recourse, there's no consequence. And then all of a sudden one day I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to have to charge you. And they're like, wait, what? You've never talked to me about this before. Right? Because we're not confident to even bring it up in a polite, compassionate way because we don't know how. And maybe that's the model that we witnessed growing up is like, everything you were supposed to tiptoe and read between the lines. And if you didn't, then things exploded eventually. But when you learn to use social media to your advantage, use your email and text, get a sign up, have a conversation with them, and remind them, you will be amazed at how much trust and respect you get. And then all of a sudden, the respect that you crave, the respect that you desire, that you want, how come everyone just sees me just as a hairstylist or just as an esthetician or just as a dog groomer or just a service provider? It's because you're not knowing, and I say this with so much love and compassion, you're not knowing how to navigate your business that builds respect and trust and authority. And that's why I'm here. And so if you guys want to start building more trust, respect, loyalty, and authority, and you want to have the systems and the way to approach it and the conversations to have that compassionate communication, I want to invite you to check out my program, Rock Your Consultation. Like I said, I've been needing to change the name, and we just are in the middle of changing the name right now, and I'm really excited about it. But I want you guys, and if you have more questions, shoot me a DM because I want to make this easy for you. And I have this step-by-step broken down, how to write your policies, how to enforce them, how to follow through on them, how to get your clients to agree to them, how to have your clients seeing that you're not doing something to them or at them, but you're doing it for them. And you really build this respect and you start to be seen as authority. And then you and I are linking arm in arm together and we're taking steps forward because I'm on this mission and I want you guys to join in on me. And can you just give me a yes in the comments if you're on this mission with me, if you'll join me on this? Because it scares the shit out of me a little bit. But I'm on a mission to link arm in arm with each one of you guys in our industry and us to start taking steps forward to show the world and society that we are professionals and that we can be respected. But where it starts is with us first, respecting ourselves, respecting each other, coming together in community and collaboration rather than competition, and giving the world a reason to respect us and a reason to see us as professionals. If we continue to be passive aggressive, if we continue to emotionally discount, if we continue to feel victims of, if we continue to feel like we're out of control, then the world responds to that. And I know it's hard to step into your power, into your bigness, because it scares the crap out of you a little bit. I know how scary that can feel. But I want you to know that you've got it. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's one of the biggest things that has been hard for me is I'm like, well, who am I? And why would anyone want to listen to me? I'm just Dawn. And then I have to realize, and I said this yesterday on the line, I'm Dawn motherfucking Bradley, guys. Like it's even hard for me sometimes, but if I do it for you, because if I had never done it for myself, I wouldn't be here now. And I want you to know, shy, anxious, awkward, ADHD girl. I used to hide behind my mom's leg when I was little when people would talk to me. I used to make my mom phone my friend's house to ask them if they'd hang out. I did not know how to be confident. I did not know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to demand respect. I didn't know how to be an authority without being aggressive or assertive. And I've had to do it through a lot of practice. And so I want to be able to help give you guys that today. So if you want to be able to have more compassionate communication, build trust, respect, loyalty, and authority without being aggressive or assertive or combative, please connect with me. Go to dawnbradley.com, go into the Learn With Me, check out Rock Your Consultation. I would love to get it in each and every single one of your hands. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions, but know that I am here supporting you and cheering you on. And if you didn't know, I have a massive blowout sale happening, free shipping on all my merch on my website right now. So if you haven't gone over and checked out the mirror decals that you can get, so you can put it on your station at work, it says you are already more than enough, or I'm a big deal and I can do hard things. All my stickers, free. You just got to put the code free shipping in, free shipping worldwide. We've got some of the DB hoodies still left. So I want to make sure that you guys get in on my blowout sale. And just thank you so much, Fire. I love that you guys are loving this. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for believing in yourself, for getting uncomfortable, and for starting to see that you actually have everything you need. Sometimes you just need some support, some push, and a little bit of how-to step-by-step guide. Thank you, Renee, dawnbradley.com. And if you're listening to this on The Anxious Creative, come on over to Instagram at Dawn Bradley Hair. Shoot me a DM. I want to connect with you. All right, you guys, that's it for this morning. Thank you so much for another amazing business breakfast in bedhead. I am so excited to be hanging. I love doing these every day. I almost slept in today because I was feeling so tired, and I'm so glad that I did it. You guys are the reason why I do this. If you got something out of this, if you had an aha, I would love for you to just quickly share it in the comments. What's one thing that you're oh, hi, Constance. What's one thing that you're taking away from this live today that you're going to apply in your life or your work? I want to know. The more we connect in the comments, the more you put those things in, the more it's going to reinforce in your brain that you are learning, you are growing, you are going to take something. So if you can quickly put just one thing that you took from this live, pop it in the chat right now so I can know and so that you can hold yourself accountable to moving forward, building trust, respect, loyalty, and authority. Fun fact, you guys, Constance was one of the very first people to use my consultation method that walks through all the policies. And I believe you still use it to this day in your salon with your stylists. It's a tried and true system that gets people understanding your policies, respecting you, and trusting you as the authority. You're so welcome, Nails by LG. My clients aren't against me. The world is reacting to me. Yes, Burgundy, I love that. Lauren says, approaching with respect and compassion. Yeah, Constance says, I still use it. I love it. She's the OG. I love this. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, if you didn't know, I have 2 retreats coming up, one in April 23rd to 25th. We have a couple spots left. July 23rd to 25th here in Calgary, Alberta. It's 3 days. The first day is personal development. The second day is diving deep into business. And the third day is we go out to the mountains for an excursion. It's a small, intimate retreat. There's only 10 spots in each retreat. I want to make sure that you know that you're invited. I would love to have you come hang out in my living room with me and other amazing individuals just like us that maybe haven't felt like we fit into the industry, that kind of have always done things a little bit different, that are hypersensitive and hyper aware to the things around us, and we've struggled to show up with confidence. Know that after those 3 days in the retreat, not only are you going to have lifelong friends, but you're going to have confidence you never knew that you had before, and you are going to have so much more the ability to move through your life feeling in control of it. So if you want to check out the retreat, go to donbradley.com/retreat. Reinforce, oh, here, what else did you guys learn? Wellness.the Body Shop, reinforcing my cancellation policy. I needed to hear this today. My client canceled this morning and I was able to watch this. So blessing in disguise. I love it. How do we get more info on the retreat? Go to donbradley.com/retreat. There's some info there. You can also apply and then we can get connected. And Angie saying, do it. It's the best. Yes. All right. Well, you guys, that's it for my morning live. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. Don't change who you are. Never do anything different. Stay weird. And until tomorrow, have a wonderful day. Bye. Bye, guys.